I don't know where my glasses are. It's fine. I'll just be blind today. Hi. Hello, we're live. What's going on? Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is Tuesday, right? I'm pretty sure it's Tuesday. I don't know what's going on. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm just gonna struggle to read chat. So if you see me squinting to the side, that's you. That's me paying extra attention to you. Because I love you. Alright. let's get into this. There's a lot to cover still of this video. We're an hour and 15-ish minutes in, and it's 3 hours and 36 minutes. So, you do the math. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I don't fucking need to be able to see. Like, if other people don't have to read and don't have to see, I don't have to see. It's fine. I'm blind as fuck, dude. All right, let's go. Let's just go. Oh, I didn't turn the audio on. Oh no. Oh boy. Good God. I'm one of those people. I'm one of Just start the stream already. Get to the point, for fuck's sakes. All right, what the hell were they talking about? I don't even remember.
It's not me trying to cast blame away from myself. It's going, no, we all fucked up. That's the reality of the situation.
Oh yeah, it's him being like, I'm taking responsibility by not taking responsibility. Right. Okay, all right. So for anybody new, hi, I'm Chesh. Welcome to here. We're watching an honest conversation with Pirate Software from Healthy Gamer GG with Dr. K. So yeah, we back, fam. Yeah, we're back from holidays. Let's go.
All fucked up. And I think what people want is they want me to go, no, it's my bad. But my bad is a lie.
So sure.
And I don't want to do that because it feels like I'm being asked to give bullshit for the sake of giving bullshit so that other people can be like, oh, I love this bullshit. We're cool now because we both realize that we've both bullshitted each other in this situation. It's not real.
So this is probably one of the more telling parts of this conversation, in that Pirate Software doesn't actually think he did anything wrong and doesn't believe that he should apologize to anybody, including his teammates, like the people who had their characters die and stuff and whatever. But like, it tells you that pretty much everything before this and everything after this doesn't mean anything. He has zero empathy, he has zero sense of responsibility or any desire or inclination that he feels like he owes any explanations or accountability for what had happened in this scenario.
Real. None of that is real. It's hand wavy.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Now, I'm going to ask you a question that please don't clip this out of context. Or if someone clips this out of context,
it's already done.
Please add someone post underneath with a reply this portion, okay? So you say you do your best to look at it objectively and you conclude this is bullshit. And I'm not saying you're wrong, okay? So I
look at it objectively based on my subjective experience.
Yes. So let's assume for a moment.
Yeah, we'll pretend that for a moment, we're going to pretend those words make any sense.
Let's assume for a moment that you are a narcissist.
Okay. That's going to get clipped.
I know. I know. But it's like, I think this is really where the money is. And this is not just about you. This is about everybody, myself included. I run this exercise with myself all the time. If a narcissist goes through the process that you go through, they will end up in the same place that you end up.
Which is likely why people make the accusation.
I didn't know they did that, but yes.
Okay. Well, all right. Let's be clear for a second. I've said this before and I will say it again. Just because someone is diagnosed with some form of narcissism or some form of antisocial disorder in between point A and point B of what we understand colloquially as narcissism doesn't mean they're a bad person. It's simply explanation and a diagnosis to assist in people changing or recovering from specific behaviors, that antisocial behaviors. It doesn't mean they're the devil. It doesn't mean they're inherently a bad person. Being a narcissist doesn't mean you should be completely like nothing you say matters anymore, or you can't have any personal relationships anymore. Like, no, we don't do that shit here. You can be a narcissist and be a perfectly fine, functional member of society. You might have specific things you need to work on and extra work you need to do compared to other people, or different work that you need to do compared to other people, because, it's not a competition, but it ain't that, fam. It ain't about that shit. However, also, everyone has behaviors that would check at least one of the boxes of narcissism. This is psychology 101. It is everyone has ego. This is philosophy 101, psychology 101. Everyone has an ego. It's a part of the human experience. Nobody doesn't have an ego. If there's somebody out there that doesn't have an ego, I would love to read their book, because that would be fascinating. So if you know somebody, tell them to come talk to me, because that's fascinating, and I'm sure it probably exists somewhere where there's somebody who doesn't have what would generally be identified as ego, and that would be very, very interesting. But generally speaking, everybody has ego. And so because everybody has ego, and because you can only experience your life through your eyes, you have a bias towards yourself and in understanding yourself, because other people can't know what goes on in your brain unless you communicate to them what goes on in your brain. And most of the time, people don't know what the hell is going on in their brain. And even if you can communicate, they're still not having the experience. It's not the same thing. If I tell you I broke my leg, you might understand conceptually what that is. Hell, you might have even broken your leg before and be able to, like, one-to-one that. But that, you didn't have the experience that I had. Heh. I used to watch Pirate Software as a fellow game dev. Glad I stopped after what came out. Yeah, I remember seeing his shorts and being like, okay, these are kind of, and they were like all over the place. And I was like, wow, this guy's really prevalent. And I was like, okay, he seems fine. And then I watched a little bit more. I'm like, he seems shallow. Like, a lot of the shorts are very, like, surface level. But, there's only like 30 seconds long. But I do think that there is a really big misrepresentation between a Pirate Software stream on Twitch and the way he behaves on streams versus, like, what he was, the way he came across in whoever was doing the editing for his YouTube shorts. Brain surgeons and heart surgeons often have more of these kinds of traits than the general public. There are these. It's the same with, like, is it psychopathy? I think psychopathy is far more prevalent than I think people realize, which is interesting. But it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? Like, your life's not over just because you get diagnosed with something, and you shouldn't be treated as if you're an evil person. What's happening here is that Pirate Software is, in this scenario that they're talking about, and in this video, is displaying narcissistic personality traits. That doesn't mean he is a narcissist from, like, a textbook standpoint. He might be. I don't know. I'm not a professional. But
yeah.
Okay. So, like, that's the problem that you're dealing with. And it's
See,
not...
I don't know that.
Huh?
That's the thing. For me, I didn't know that.
Yes.
I had no clue.
Right? So
Yeah.
think about that, right? Like, that's the problem. And this is the problem. Like, I don't know if this makes... Like, that's the problem.
no, well, that's part of the problem. One of the problems is that Thor isn't communicating what he thinks he wants to communicate. The other problem is that he wants to project something that isn't true and is trying to impose that on everybody else. And he doesn't believe he did anything behaviorally or communicatively incorrect, or even in a way that could have been done better. He does, or that requires any kind of accountability or any kind of, like, personal reflection. And so, like, people aren't into that. Probably because it's antisocial behavior, and humans are social. So we don't like when somebody in our group, particularly somebody in a position of power like Thor is in in a group shitting on everybody.
Is that if I listen to you, are you someone who is objective, who has done like all the like, is your representation thorough and objective, or is this the construction of a narcissistic mind that's just defending itself and things like that?
I mean, I could be both. Could be both of those things.
Problem that leads into is that goes down to, are you willing to have a conversation with me? Or do you just want to believe the narrative that you already want to believe?
No, no. This bullshit binary that he keeps doing. Oh my god.
Agree 100%. That and that's why you're fucked.
I wholly disagree. It's not about that. It's not about that at all. That there are obviously bad actors on the internet, right? There are people who are out there like being problematic on purpose and like trolling and trying to like bother Thor or his community or whatever, right? Like that happens. Of course that's happening. And he's got a large enough audience that of course that's happening. I mean, the dude still has millions of subscribers even though he banned supposedly 50,000 people in a day. Sure, Chan. But that's not... You can do both. Because the answer, this turns into either you believe what I'm telling you and you agree with me, or you're trolling, or you're stupid. So you have to, he's setting up this like no-win scenario where you either have to come and have a conversation with him and let him gaslight you, or like, you know that people don't have to have a conversation with you to have watched the thing that happened and watched the way you've responded to criticism about the thing that's happened. Like, I don't have to have a conversation with Thor to listen to what he's saying in this video, in this interview. This was live. I don't have to, like, I can go and I can pull up the 5-minute clip of them playing to see what happened. Like, all of this was live and streamed. It's not like I have to go and this is something that these fucking people, Jesus Christ, Renell does this, Aaron does this, Thor does this, Vic Mignogna does this, Rakita Law does this. Every motherfucker on the planet that I've had fucking criticisms like this for, that behaves in the same fucking kind of way, always does the same defensive, why didn't you talk to me about it? The fuck do I have to talk to you about the thing that you did publicly? And if I try to talk to you, you have a whole hissy goddamn hairy fit about it. You can't handle that. So you're setting it up where you make it you demand a conversation and then make it impossible to talk to you. It's like, what do you want from everybody else? You want everybody else to follow these rules and everybody else to have this standard, and then, like, no! Did Pirate Software go talk to Ross before talking about Stop Killing Games and wholly misrepresenting it, and then talking shit about him after the fact? No! So why doesn't Thor have to follow this standard that he's putting forward onto everybody else? As if it's a reasonable standard to begin with. It's not. It's not a reasonable standard. Not in this scenario. It might be like, I don't know, your aunt and your uncle have a falling out and they divorce, and your aunt talks shit about your uncle and you just believe your aunt without talking to your uncle about what happened. You know, maybe. Depends on the context. Sure, I guess maybe get both sides of the story if you want, but like, you don't have to. It's not a requirement. And it's certainly not when you're talking about people's... But I don't have to go and talk to Amber Heard to have... make a meme or a joke about her dog stepping on a bee. Like, fuck off. Who do you think you are?
Bro. Because the internet is not interested in having... like, 90% of the internet is not interested in having conversations.
I understand the point he's getting at, but I don't think I believe that that's true. I would suspect that with the amount of content that exists and the amount of educational content that exists and how popular a lot of some of these channels are, I mean, even if Thor's channel is a little bit more conversational, I think that a lot more people actually do want to have, or at least want to observe those conversations. So like, again, this is a channel that has 2.98 million subscribers. I don't have my glasses on. And this has, how many views is on this video? 1 million views.
And you will see this all the time on, take any political subreddit or any political streamer, and you'll see that people are not interested in having conversations. And I do think there's a lot of weird stuff going on with YouTube, but like, that's like parasocial and stuff like that.
The thing though, legitimately, dude, is we've built up a community of specifically people that have conversations about things.
Yeah, see? So does 90% of Thor's following also not want to have conversations? Because you realize the people that he's complaining about, for the most part, are the people that are coming into his stream and the people who are watching him when this went down. Like, where did the Amber Heard comment come from? Man, I don't know. Somewhere in the back of my brain.
Why, after all of this, we're still sitting at like 6,000 to 10,000 people on a daily basis? That doesn't happen in a situation that is, like, I meticulously made sure that we had a community where we could talk about stuff on a logical basis and try to work things out outside of that. And I've been pushing that on this channel for 8 years. And I don't think I'd have a community if I built one that was based on instant emotional reaction. Because they'd just be like, oh, he's a piece of shit. You know,
yeah.
That'd be it.
So there are absolutely communities like that, you know, and I think it's great that you don't.
Did he just try to spin that into a, whatever, it doesn't matter.
And maybe that's why people are coming from other communities to you, because it was a group WoW thing. So there's like a lot of other communities that are interacting with yours. The thing that I would encourage you to do, and this is for everyone, I do this on a daily basis.
How big is the WoW streaming community? Because it's like, that would be the numbers you're talking about. If you want to talk numbers, that's what you'd have to look at. You'd have to look at game development, Blizzard, Twitch, that, like, Twitch streaming, then World of Warcraft. Like, World of Warcraft is huge and has been huge for a very long time. So it's not like Thor is the be-all, end-all, biggest World of Warcraft streamer. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Somehow Thor's really offended by all of this and perpetuates it in the face of his streaming making him a truckload of money, and yet he cannot handle it, and says the guy who has an instant emotional reaction about things he doesn't understand. Yeah. There's this thing that happens that people do where they have an emotional reaction, but they try to flip it and project it as if you're the one having the emotional reaction. It's almost like a shoot the messenger vibe, where it's like, oh, no, hold on. What, like, they get offended, so they say, why are you so upset about this? When all you did was tell them that the thing happened. Hey, I hit a bullseye dart. Isn't that cool? I ended up with a higher score than yours. Whoa, why are you... Calm down, that's not that big of a deal. Why are you so emotional? Stuff like that.
Is assume for a moment that you're a narcissist.
Okay,
and
I'm there.
Think about, if I'm narcissistic, what would I be missing? Right? Like, even... So I'm trying to think of an example.
Yeah, I think this is a little bit of a complicated... I get what Dr. K is trying to do here, but I think this is a little bit of a complicated analogy, and I feel like this is going to get lost in the sauce really fast, because you need to start by defining a narcissist and how to identify a narcissist and what narcissistic behaviors are. And I don't think we're at that part of the... I don't think we're in that space. I don't think that's where we're at right now.
So I recently had an interpersonal conflict where I felt hurt by someone I'm close to. Okay? And as I was thinking through all the things that this person has done wrong to me, I stopped for a second and I was like, am I just being a little bitch? Am I, like, is this genuine? Is this fair? Like, what are all of the counterexamples? Am I just glossing over all of the stuff that they do right? Am I ignoring all of the stuff that I do wrong? Am I ignoring when this person lets me down?
Self-awareness. Taking that, what he's describing is self-awareness. Do you have the self-awareness to calm down for a second, take a step back, and reassess from an external or a different point of view?
What is my contribution to this system in which I am disappointed? So
okay.
these are
that seems normal to me, though. Okay,
reaction. Good. Yeah.
Then do it. Then if it's normal, then do it. Because the thing that people are mad at you for is not doing the thing you're saying is normal. Or do you think it's normal because you see other people doing that all the time and you just assume that you are also doing that thing?
But I think a lot of times when we feel hurt, we're not. We don't do that. Right. So
no, that's the first.
Okay, cool. I think that's great.
Yeah, sure it is. Yeah, the first thing you do. I don't X to can we chat can I get X to doubt up there, please? Thank you.
I mean, if you're already doing that, that's awesome. Then I think the main thing then that I would encourage you to really think about is like this disconnect. And what's the variable in there? And what I would strongly encourage that you do is that variable is going to be divided into two portions. One is that the amplification, the disconnect, the question mark of this situation. You understand what I'm saying? Or not really?
Yeah. I mean, like I'm kind of understanding, but I think it's hard for me to understand how I'm supposed to respond to that if the requirement for the response is you need to make it incomplete and dumb it down and hand wave it. That makes me feel like I'm just lying to people.
Oh my God. It's that thing where somebody doesn't know how to just say, I'm sorry, without going into like a 2-hour diatribe. Or somebody who doesn't know how to answer a yes or no question. And like sometimes yes or no questions can be like, okay, this needs some context, but then just say, hey, there's more context to this, but my answer is yes. Like, you know what I mean? Like if people want more, they'll ask for more and they'll look for more. You can just start with, hey, listen, this thing happened. I handled it poorly. I'm sorry. Here's the clip for context. Done. Easy. But no, we've got to pull teeth. Because, you know, you gotta be a dentist. In his mind, he does do it. He's just always the victim at the end of thinking about it. He's the personification of, I've investigated myself and found nothing wrong. Oh, no.
No. I think your response to, when I said, what do you think about that? Your response to that kind of won me over. I don't think you should do
There's also a little bit of a problem here where we know for a fact that he's misrepresenting and leaving out information. So he's actually using this, oh, I think it's lying if I don't provide context, as an excuse to lie and as a reason to lie and as to build himself space to lie. So that's a problem also, which is just, you know, manipulative, right? That's what it is. The reason why he demands people have a conversation with him isn't because he is an honest interlocutor. It's because he wants to control the narrative that he doesn't have control over. So anybody who doesn't talk to him and go along with what he wants to say is pushing a narrative that they heard from somewhere else, obviously, which is just projection.
Do that. So now what we're talking about is for anyone who is in a situation where I behave in a certain way, the world responds to me in this way, and there's a gap between these two things. This is the scenario that I'm talking about.
Dr. K's trying
scenario,
so hard.
What's the question mark? What's the amplifier? So there are certain things that we can attribute to things outside of you. So people have parasocial relationships, people are projecting, people don't like me, whatever. Like people are upset, whatever. There's all the stuff that they do, and then there's all the stuff that you do. And this is where I think it's hard, but I think a really good example of what came out of today, which hopefully feels okay to you, is when I'm direct, other people think I'm evasive. I think those are the kinds of nuggets that I have seen transform lives and literally save marriages.
It's just funny because like I've had effectively the same conversation with the moderation team. Was like, I use...
So you literally have people around you that know exactly what is going on, exactly directly telling you in your personal life that are in your favor. These are like the people that work for you, telling you this thing. This is when I worked with Steve. It's the same fucking, it's pulling teeth. Fucking Christ. I'm getting nom flashbacks, guys.
Use the same terminology as like that feels like idiocracy. I don't feel like dumbing down my language and just being
rude. You don't have to dumb down your language to explain something that everybody else can watch. That's not how it works. It's not dumbing down language to be straightforward. It's not. And again, you're framing it as if we're back to every time he talks about it as if it's a them versus me situation, and then talks about it how he's all like it's always that like these other people are always like stupid or they're emotional or they're lying or blah 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 blah. Question: have you ever been traumatized by Steve? You know, that is a good question, and I thought about it back in the day, like a couple years ago, and while I was like poking around the internet, I came across something called, it's like the trauma of betrayal or something like that, or like it's like a friendship betrayal situation that can do like have a traumatic effect, which I thought was interesting. Might be applicable, but I'd have to re-examine it, and I don't fucking care. I'm never wrong, you just don't understand. Yeah, it's either you agree with me, or you are too stupid to understand, or you're trolling. It's those he's put himself in the position where it can only ever be those three things. And that's not a good headspace to be in, especially not if you're gonna, like, be a fucking dick.
Dishonest about it to hand wave it makes sense, and I feel greasy doing that. I don't know how else to describe that.
I feel greasy because I talk to people in a way that I believe they will understand, because you feel greasy because you're looking down and condescending to people, and you're just thinking that it's, instead of accepting that that's what you're doing because that would make you a piece of shit, you're trying to pretend it's this other thing, that it's some kind of moral high ground. Good God, no, this is exactly like a conversation I had with Steve one time. I asked him if he thought it was dishonest to say something and explain something in a way that is different from the way that you initially think about the thing in your own brain. So if I explain something to you, or I'm trying to communicate something to you, and I don't use the initial first verbiage that comes to my mind, and I think about the way I want to say it, and I consider like who you are when I'm talking to you, and when I consider you, I change some of my language around. So like if I'm talking to a mechanic and I'm trying to explain something, I might use analogies that might be more akin to something that the mechanic might understand. I asked if that would be dishonest. Like, am I lying? And he said yes. And I was like, what? And I'm like, how is that? Like, what the fuck? I can understand how it could be viewed, like, very cynically as manipulative, but by that definition, or by that cynical viewpoint, all communication is manipulative. Which is, okay, fine, but that doesn't, then it doesn't mean, then we're in the syndrome situation where when all of it's manipulative, none of it's manipulative. But if you go the other direction, you say, listen, I am changing my language to elicit a specific reaction, or to make sure that this person understands it in a way that I want them to, as opposed to the way that it might actually be, that is lying. That's dishonest, right? So if I explain something in a way that leads somebody to an incorrect conclusion, no, especially if I do it knowingly, now I'm the asshole. What a dumb fucking, good God. It's lying if I don't explain exactly everything, but then we watch Thor proceed to lie and not explain actually the thing that happened. leaving out major key details.
Are you hearing me talk about dumbing things down at this point?
When I say dumbing things down, I mean like the idea of like, oh, my bad, bro. And just kind of leave it like that. That doesn't make sense.
What are you?
But that's not what people are actually asking for either. That is a straw man. That is a wholly misrepresented point. If you don't really need to explain literally everything to people that were there, right? Or the people that can go and watch it again. But if you just want to say, oh, my bad, then nobody's going to know what you're talking about. That's not dumbing it down. That's just you being flippant. I mean, maybe you could view it as like, oh, you're placating people. But people don't want you to placate them. That's not actually the thing that they're asking for.
Hearing me say to you right now.
Of a way to resolve the language of, you know, I feel like I'm being objective. They feel like I'm being evasive. And to me, it comes across as I'm over-explaining. I'm giving too much context. I'm making the scenario of myself as a player within that rather than this is what I did and that's it.
Can I remind everybody that this is on a game on a server that has like people who ostensibly do this professionally? So like if he doesn't need to explain how the game functions to apologize for roaching. Like it's not that complicated. You don't need to explain, like you might need to explain to some people what is roaching, sure, but like the fuck.
Then we walk away.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. So I understand where our disconnect is.
Okay.
I have removed dumbing down from the equation of my solution space when I talk to you. Take it off the table. Done. Doesn't feel right. I agree. What I'm saying is that if we look at I'm being direct, they feel like I'm being evasive. The tactical options to solve that
are already problematic, because if you're saying I'm being this way and they're being that way, and you're not leaving any room to say that I'm doing this and they feel like I'm doing that, you need to sort of remove that verbiage from from your thought process. Right?
I'm being direct, they feel like I'm being evasive. The tactical options to solve that involve way more than dumbing things down.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what I think. Yeah, I would focus on that. So like, don't dumb things down, be authentic. But there's also a way, because like, right, so fundamentally this is...
No, everyone's dumb but me. Like, they'll figure it out, dude.
An issue of communication. It's an issue of understanding. It's an issue of getting your point across, arguably listening to other people's.
Well, that's more of a PR problem. The issue lies in Thor having a massive fucking ego and not being able to take his foot out of his mouth. Like, and just continuing to double down on being a dick instead of having any type of self-reflection. The issue here is ego. That's the problem. Of course there is a communication problem, but the communication problem is under the umbrella of Thor's massive fucking ego. If he can deal with his ego, then he can deal with his communication. Otherwise, hire a PR manager, motherfucker. Not that a PR manager is going to be able to help you, especially not if you're streaming 11 to 12 hours a day. Some dumb motherfucking shit is going to come out of your mouth in 12 hours a day when this is the kind of person you are.
And so that is a skill. It is an art form. There's a way to do it well and do it poorly. Now, what a lot of people do, which I think is bad, which I really appreciate you standing up against, is dumbing things down, virtue signaling, pro forma apology.
I hate that. Like I
hate
really
it too.
I hate the idea of here's my ukulele sad YouTuber video. Let me just lie into the camera for 5 minutes because that's fucking dumb.
I hate it too.
Yeah, Sure, that's fine. It's when it's performative, it's sometimes it's really hard to tell online when somebody's being performative or if somebody's earnestly sorry. And so the apology videos are sort of like just the whole point is the apology video is supposed to be the acknowledgement. It's everything that happens after the apology video that actually matters. Do you make an apology and then continue to do the thing? Because if you continue to do the thing, like what Thor is doing in this video, he's continuing to do the thing, he's continuing to misrepresent people, he's continuing to lie about the situation, etc., etc., etc. He's going to continue to do the thing, then the admittance that he did something wrong, or the acknowledgement that he did something wrong, doesn't mean anything when there's no accountability and there's no follow-through. So you can have the shittiest apology video ever. Like, let's pretend you're Logan Paul for a minute, and you did some dumb thing, like something nobody would ever do, like only some crazy person would do it, like film a dead body in a forest in a foreign country. And then you made a video being like, oh man, I'm an idiot, and I'm really sorry. People may or may not believe your apology is an apology. What's gonna matter is everything you do after that. Do you do that shit again? Or do you not do that shit? Or do you not do something that dumb again for a long enough period of time that people don't start compounding the dumb shit?
So my point is that if we look at like, you know, like,
and I feel like that's what I was being asked to do, and I'm like, no, here's how I see it, and they're good.
Yeah. So and my point is that somewhere between the pro forma apology and what
Thor cannot and has not successfully looked at this accurately from someone else's point of view at all. At all.
Comes out of your mouth, there's going to be something in the middle there, which is an adaptation of what you do, which feels authentic, feels truthful, feels complete. And there's literally something about the way that you talk where if I code your responses, that's the best way I know how to put it. It's kind of like there's a theme of what feels like a lack of accountability from a listener's perspective. I don't think you're not.
Yeah, because there's zero accountability. What has he done to rectify the problem? He hasn't done anything to fix it. He hasn't changed any behaviors. He hasn't properly apologized to anybody, and then continued to cause problems in the guild, in the group. He didn't do anything to make it right. He hasn't done anything. When you apologize for something, generally you try to make good on it, right? Like if you steal from a store and you're a kid, usually you have to go back to the store, apologize, and pay the money, or bring back the item you stole. Like, so you fuck up, you have to make good on your fucking up. Main character syndrome. Adam says, this way he gets to be the hero in his own eyes. If he takes accountability or self-reflects, then that's not genuine to him, because clearly he's always right, so that would be dishonest of him. Yeah. I agree. I think you're right. I think that there's like a very serious issue when it comes to like the way he views himself internally, and it comes through a lot in the language that he uses. Like, it might sound small and it might sound nitpicky or it might sound petty to pick up on him saying his side is always objective and everybody else's is always subjective, or it's like, oh, I built a community that's based on conversations, and I built on a community based on having conversations logically. Like, there's the verbiage, the language is so stilted. It's so stilted in like specific rhetoric that is, and it's he comes by it naturally, like or he's not doing it. I don't think he's doing it with like intention. He's doing it more passively or inherently. And so like when he fucking bullshitted about that 50,000, 50 whatever the fuck numbers of bans he allegedly did, like that number is absolutely nonsense. Like fuck off, dude. Like come on. So, like, I don't play World of Warcraft, but I know enough gaming and do know enough to be able to find out and where to find the numbers that I could literally, frame by frame, watch what happened in that 7-minute clip, and I'd be able to tell you exactly what spell he could be casting and what he could have optimally done in that scenario, and what the outcomes likely would have been given those situations. But that's not the thing that really actually matters. People fuck up in games. It's not the end of the world. But he's pretending like everybody seems to think it's the end of the world when that's literally just not the issue.
Not taking accountability, objectively. But what I'm saying is that the limbic circuits of my brain.
You fucking got Hello Kitty Island Adventure. I wanted to get that one and I didn't get it yet. Son of a bitch.
The emotional circuits of my brain, when I hear you talk, it feels like you're leaving something out. It feels somehow
because he's leaving something out.
Unbalanced. And I know that's a very difficult problem for you to solve.
Like, that doesn't give me a lot of tools, right?
It really, it's hard. So that's where, like, I'm going to think a little bit about how to bridge that gap, but like something in that is where the money is. I feel really...
Yeah, stop lying. That's the tool, is to stop fucking lying and stop being so manipulative. It's have some self-awareness, but it is complicated to try to be like, okay, your self-awareness level and your emotional maturity level are down here, and we need to get and like the average is up here, and we need to get you like here. So going from here to here seems like a really big task, right? So baby steps, right? You gotta Bill Murray this shit and baby steps our way and be like, okay, well, what are good tools for increasing someone's self-awareness, and what are good tools to help someone cultivate and develop better emotional habits and grow that emotional maturity. Movie analogy, let's see, hold on. Feline said, which is really weird because in a lot of movies where there is a hero, they often have to undergo changes and admit some part of them is wrong and need to change to improve themselves. Yeah, it's more like a power fantasy situation, yeah. No, I know you were making a South Park joke. I was just kidding. There is a new Hello Kitty game that recently it was on the Steam Summer Sale. I'm not sure if it still is. Death by 1,000 Cuts. That's a good point. Like, there's just been so many dumb things, and he hasn't been able to deal with a single one of them appropriately. So it's yeah, I do think it's a problem that Dr. Clay didn't watch the 7 minutes of what actually happened. Does he realize he's lying? That's a complicated question sometimes. I don't think that Thor believes he is misrepresenting what happened. Right? I don't think he believes he is doing that. I think he is doing it. I don't think he's doing it consciously. I think he's doing it habitually. So that's just my take, though. That's just my take. So the only way to, like, discern how honest Thor is going to be would be to take a couple of clips of him describing the situation and play it side by side with what happened, point out the inconsistencies, and confront him directly with those inconsistencies. Because I would suspect what he thinks he is doing is he thinks that he is telling the story with all of the parts that he believes are most relevant. Or at least I think that's how he would describe what he believes he's doing. What I think he's doing is I think he's actually just lying. I just don't know how intentional a lot of it is and how habitually defensive it is. Because I think this is defensiveness, and I think it's just habitual. It's not, I think it's more inherent. and like happening automatically without him thinking about it, which is the worst kind of lying, by the way. This is what I like to describe as, I believe it's level one-dimensional thinking, where what he's doing is he's only thinking about what sounds good or will make him look or sound good at the time, right? And so I have this scale. I should do a video about this someday. I keep talking about it, and I keep never doing it. I have a scale that goes up to like 4th or 5th dimensional, and it's called just dimensional thinking. So 0, and by the way, everybody does all of them. They're not like a scaling of 1 or 2 or 3 is better than 0, right? They're all just states of mind that you happen to be in. And so like 0 is you're just not thinking about your answer. So like if your mom asks you if you want peanut butter on your toast and you say yes or no, and you're not really thinking about it, you say, oh, hey, do you like strawberry jam or raspberry jam? And you say raspberry, because that's just the one you like and you're not really thinking about it other than what your preference is. You're not thinking about, like, why is she asking you this? Does this have an effect on what happens 2 months later? Because the reason she's actually asking is because she's going to buy you raspberry, or she's going to buy you or make you some jam for Christmas, right? Like, you're not thinking about that part of it. You're just answering the question. Level 1 is you're just saying what you believe sounds good at the time or makes you sound good at the time. Second level is when you notice there's another person you're having the conversation with. And so you're actually directly interacting and you're considering like the way you're speaking and the way you're talking is being considerate of the other person in a negative light or a positive light, depends on whatever's going on, and that's contextual. But you're aware that there's another person there. And so you understand that you're having this back and forth and you're considering like what they're thinking at the time, or maybe what they're going to say next. Third dimensional is when you realize there are other people in the room that are watching your conversation, and that might matter. You might decide that it doesn't matter and you don't really have to concern yourself with it, but fourth dimensional thinking is when you add time as a factor to say, hey, I'm making this video right now, and somebody might watch it 6 months from now. So I take that into consideration when I'm doing stuff like this, or when I'm having debates or conversations or whatever I'm creating or whatever I'm doing, or even if you're having a conversation and you are actually considering like, hey, why is my mom asking me about jam and my favorite flavor of jam, and what does that mean in the future, and what does that mean retroactively? Did I ever say previously that I didn't like jam? So now you've got fourth dimension, you've got time involved. And that's my scale of dimensional thinking. But hey, that's just my shortcut to like just kind of level scaling things, just so I kind of know where somebody's at. And to me, I would say Thor is probably sitting at a 1 pretty solidly most of the time. Most of the time, he just seems to be saying whatever he thinks makes him sound or look good at the time, and isn't really considering like the that there are other people involved, or that he's on a stream and there are lots of people watching him, or that like what that might mean in the future if he's contradicting himself, etc., etc., etc. It's one of the problems with lying. Lying is very difficult, especially if you're not if you're not thinking on the fourth dimensional level. If you're gonna lie, you need to be on number 4. If you're not on number 4, your lies are gonna fall fucking apart so goddamn fast. Because you're not thinking about it, man. You gotta be on board.
Really confident about that. It's not a pro forma apology, but it is also thinking about the way that you make statements that rubs people the wrong way. And then the other interesting thing that I really have to like encourage you to think about is it hard for you to see a different way to use your words? Because in your mind, you're only able to see things one way.
The way that I put that up, the way that I put out messaging like that, especially public messaging, the internet will find any chink in the armor.
That's not the question. The question is about the way you think about it and whether or not you have a hard time because you can't do this. Stop immediately blaming everybody else. Oh, there's gonna find a chink in it. Well, fuck. Then stop talking. Shut up. Why do you bother then? Like, what are we doing?
To try to unravel it into saying that you're a liar in some way.
Yep.
We've both seen this. So what I try to do is I go, okay, So instead of putting...
It can't be that you're actually just lying. That's impossible. Can't possibly be that you're actually just lying, right? Can't be that.
Ego first on this and being like, I did the best thing or I did the worst thing or being an emotional platitudes for this kind of shit or virtue signal for it. I just go, here's everything that happened from my perspective and that's my story.
Okay, you ready
But it's not everything that happened.
for the mindfuck?
Sure.
You said that what you put out, people will try to find the chink in the armor, right?
They're going to do it anyway, but yeah.
No, they're not going to do it anyway. The way that you put things out makes them want to find the chink in your armor.
That doesn't make sense.
I know.
It makes complete sense. When people are lying, then other people are going to look for it. Like, that's not rocket science, dude. You're turning yourself into a puzzle on purpose. Fucking Christ. Yeah, he answered a question about himself by immediately discussing how everyone else is wrong. Oh my fucking God. Like, that answer to that question is so, like, actually, unironically, actually answers the question. And it's fucking... I really wish Dr. K called it out, but doesn't look like he's going to. At least not yet.
That sounds, to me, sounds obsessive. It's
Why?
Like there's a necessity to find a problem when there isn't one.
No, I think you're missing the point. The way that you communicate information, the way that you speak makes people want to find the chink in the armor because people communicate. Yeah. I know it's hard, man. It's wild. It's crazy. I'm with you. Right? So there's something that you're doing.
Oh my God, just explain it like this. Thor, you've set up a puzzle for people. And people want to solve the puzzle. You're saying this thing happened. This thing is what happened. And now people are comparing the two things that happened. The end. It's not that deep. It's not that complicated. Good fucking Lord.
That from a logical perspective makes perfect sense. The emotional energy of your words, and I'm not right about this, okay? I could be wrong. But I really suspect that this is where the money is, where something about the way that you present yourself, which by the way, went away when you got pissed off about when I was like, what do you think about just doing a mea culpa? And you're like, fuck that. I was in your corner. But here's the thing: the way that you talk,
you need more of an emotional interaction.
Because
no, you're already doing an emotional reaction. You're just pretending you're not. That's the problem. That's why people don't view your apology as authentic, because you're pretending. You already don't believe, you've already admitted that you don't believe you did anything wrong or are culpable in any real, accountable, or meaningful way. So just fucking say that. You don't get to play the big bad dick on the internet and then pretend that you're the hurt little victim. Just be the asshole then. You don't get to cry when people think you're an asshole when you're choosing to be the asshole. Like, what do you mean? I've been an asshole to people, and then when people say I'm being an asshole to them, you know what I don't do? I don't say, oh, you're calling me an asshole. I go, yeah, no, I'm being a dick. Good fucking Lord. It's unbelievable, man. Some people's kids. What are you doing? Ugh. Bro can't untangle his need to control the situation from his thinking. Yeah. Well, the other thing too is because this is a live stream, Thor is also still trying to use this live stream to control the narrative, right? It's trying to have his cake and eat it too. Well, the thing is also with being an underdog in the story, or if you want to have like a retribution, or you want to have like a turnaround, or what the fuck is the word I'm looking for here? Starts with an R. Reborn. Retributive. Register. That's not even close. Rebound. What's the word I'm looking for? Rise. You guys know what I'm talking about. Somebody's gonna type it in the chat. Fuck. Rebirth. Comeback. Resurrection, revelation. Ah! Somebody's gonna get it. What's the word I'm looking for? Revive, close. Reincarnation. You know, when you like fall from grace and you've made mistakes and you're like, I'm gonna turn my life around, and you like do that and you like come back and you be a better person. Come on, one of you's gonna get it. Reebok. I don't fucking know. Repent. Close. All these words are so close that none of them are right. Oh no. Pain. Retribution. Close. Repent is close. No. Atonement. Redemption. Fucking. Bless. Redemption. Thank you. Oh my god. Yes. Yes. Bless. I believed in you guys. I knew you guys would figure it out. Thank you. Redemption. Perfect. If you want to do a redemption, then you need to admit you were wrong. you have to be wrong first to be redeemed, right? If you want to apologize and be forgiven, you have to admit you did something wrong.
Why do I want to poke you in the armor? Because of your logic? No, because of your emotions. That reflex, this is what you got to understand, Thor.
Not necessarily. I think for some people, sure, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I'll put this back so we can get like a full thought out of him, because I feel like I interrupted him partway through. And now I forgot what the rest of what I was going to say was. Yeah, it doesn't. People don't like con artists. People don't like liars. And the bigger you are, the harder you fall. Thor is not the hero here. Thor is not the victim here. Thor is not the pretty princess damsel that needs to be fucking rescued in this scenario. He's someone in a position of power. He's in a position of control. And he's doing bad behavior. And society, because we are a social species, doesn't like that shit because it's bad for society and it's unempathetic. And so by being antisocial and unempathetic, by lying and pretending, society's gonna call it out. Is it aggressive on the internet? Sure. Is it always appropriate? Probably not. But that's not what we're here to talk about. And if you don't properly attribute these things because you're too busy catering to Thor's already antisocial habits, you're not gonna make positive progress for Thor. And you're actually going to enable him, and you're going to enable the people who troll on his behalf. Like, let's not pretend that fucking Thor and his following don't have toxic people inside of them, right? Like, that's ridiculous and absurd. And to say that, like, because of the things that Thor has said about people, that those people haven't been trolled and harassed on an at least reasonably equal level to the amount of harassment that Thor has faced. Thor has gone after people way smaller than him, with way less power in the scenario than he has. So how do we apply any of this the other way? We're taking this entire scenario and pretending like Thor has sunshine that flies out of his ass. Like, what are we doing?
But here's the thing: the way that
So what
you
you need
talk,
is you need more of an emotional interaction.
because why do I want to poke you in the armor? Because of your logic? No, because of your emotions. That reflex, this is what you got to understand, Thor.
No, some people do like going after people for their logic. If you make a logical argument and you claim that you built an entire community based on having conversations and logical discussions, you're setting yourself up. Because now you're saying that, but you don't want to have those logical conversations, and people poking at your logic isn't because they actually care about the logic, it's because they care about poking you. When you already set up the scenario where you've surrounded yourself with people who want to poke at your logic for the sake of poking at your logic because that's a thing that your community values. Am I stupid? Did I not understand that? Am I wrong here? Did he not just say that he built an entire community over the course of 8 years that values complicated and complex, implied implicitly, logical conversation and discussion, which would involve argumentation? Is that not the situation he fucking set up? Is that not the scenario? So what do you mean people are poking at your fucking logic because they want to bother Thor? Why would poking at his logic bother him at all if he set up an entire scenario over 8 years to surround himself with people who want to poke at his logic for the sake of poking at the logic, because that's the fun part of those kinds of conversations? Am I fucking dumb? Remember a couple of minutes ago when I just said that Thor is just saying things that he thinks are going to make him sound good at the time and has zero consideration about who he's talking to, who's gonna be watching, whether or not something he said a minute ago is gonna bite him in the fucking ass? Yeah, no, Thor's been through the ringer recently. This video's from earlier this year. 3 months ago.
That reflex comes from the emotional energy that you're sending and the emotional energy that they're receiving. Now, this gets more complicated because you are right that this is an unsolvable problem.
No, he is wrong. This is absolutely a solvable problem. It's just not a solvable problem in Thor's mind with Thor's mindset. The way Thor is approaching this will never be resolved and can never be resolved to any reasonable, satisfactory point. Yeah, there's always going to be shitters being shitty, like that's going to happen, but like you can get it to a reasonable level, and right now his claim is that it's not reasonable. Thor's just not able or willing, because again, we literally just fucking listened to him tell us that his own moderators have been talking to him, telling him the exact same fucking thing. And he's not listening to them. So he's not going to listen to the professional. He's not listening to his moderators. He's not listening to his community. Of course he's in the fucking doghouse. What did you expect? You want people to praise you for not listening to them? You think people that if you just ignore everyone forever and you isolate yourself from the community you spent 8 years building, that those people, those thousands of people, are going to give two shits about what you said? This is the same thing Steve did. They're the same. It's the same thing, man. You can't just treat people like shit and expect them to praise you. You can't you can't make a mud pie or stick your dick in the pudding and expect people to thank you for the pudding. Like, they don't want your dick pudding. What am I doing? Maybe my response is too emotional.
Because there is only so much that you can do in this situation. That at the end of the day, there are going to be people on the internet that are just there to meme, that are just there to make your life worse, that have little lives where they feel frustrated, and then they look at a punching bag and they say, hey, I'm going to punch this person. I'm going to knock this person down a peg. And the tragedy there is that they don't truly have little lives. They truly have far greater lives than they have the potential of far greater lives if they stopped spending all of their cognitive and emotional energy trying to knock some random fucking guy on the internet down a peg.
Thor is not some random fucking guy on the internet. He is a massive streamer. I am some random fucking guy on the internet. I'm some random asshole. Thor is not some random asshole. He worked at Blizzard. He's really important. The first second generation employee. Didn't you know?
Then they would really be happy.
Basis of all the things I try to do on the internet.
Huh?
That's why I do all. That's
yeah.
Don't get off your fucking high horse and don't pretend that fucking society holding people accountable for being shitty is some negative thing that people are doing in their lives that's making them unhappy. Like, shut up. Like, shut up. Fuck off. That's not how it works. First off, some people are sadistic as fuck. Some people are like, so for example, Rubber Ross. Rubber Ross, for anybody who doesn't know who he is an artist animator. He used to work on the Game Grumps, or with the Game Grumps, back in the day. And he likes to do this thing where he made, for a long time, he was making a shitload of Super Mario Maker levels. And he was making them as hard as he fucking possibly could to torment people on purpose. And he was gleeful about it. Like, he was happy. He was having a good fucking time. And he, like, streamed doing it and showed up while those people were trying to fucking beat those levels. Like, and he was joyfully sadistic in creating the levels that he created. And those levels did psychological damage to people. Like, on streams, like on recorded videos, these people are having breakdowns, and Ross is sitting there in the corner giggling like a madman. There are people who derive pleasure from causing pain and suffering and harm to others. In some cases, it can be mutually beneficial and can be okay, and in other situations, it's not. That's entirely contextual. But to pretend that society, or that you know, that other people are miserable because they called somebody out for lying on the internet is grandeur at best. And again, should we not in society be calling people out for doing shitty things to people? Because again, Thor did shitty things to people. Like, his behavior surrounding this and now other issues like Stop Killing Games causes sometimes irreparable damage to those individuals and those people and continual damage to those people. For example, like the lawsuit we were following with Charlo. That damage is irreparable and lasts, like, what do you do about it? It doesn't go away. The Thor is actively doing damage to people, and we just seem to be, in this conversation that I'm watching, they just seem to be ignoring that. As if that doesn't exist. So, like... So what? Right? Like, so should we just let Thor just shit all over everybody all the time? Why? Why should we do that? Why do we need to bend over backwards for him? What does he provide that to society at large, or even to his community at large, that we should just ignore all of his lying, ignore his gaslighting, ignore the harm that he's doing to Twitch other creators, game development, and the gaming sphere, and the political sphere on a whole? We should ignore all that damage. For what? What are we getting out of it? A ferret rescue? Is that Is that what we're doing? Because I think we can do that without him. Like, I don't think we need Thor to do the ferret rescue, right? The ferret rescue can still be a thing without him and without his involvement, right? Like, we can still do ferret rescue. Maybe we don't do that ferret rescue. Maybe we do, like, a community ferret rescue. But, like, I mean, it's not like you couldn't do one. You could start one at home right now if you wanted to. What are we fucking doing?
That aspiration that you put there, that's why I do the stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah, I think it's great.
I generally run game jams and all that shit.
Yeah.
It's because this shit is a waste of fucking time.
Yep.
It is the same reason that I have a short out that's like...
Then why do you keep bringing it up? Why do you make a big deal about it? Why do you gotta go after everybody fucking else all the time?
Like, stop looking at shorts. Go the fuck outside. And I know that sounds like self-inflationary of like aggrandizing for that shit, but like, dude, the internet's a
he agrees with me.
Fucking mistake. For
no, so here now we get to it. You said, I know it sounds that way. It doesn't sound that way. If I read your words, huh?
When I say it that way, it sounds that way to me.
But it doesn't sound that way to me.
That's ridiculous to me.
Yes, I know it's ridiculous. So
it's ridiculous that when you say something, somebody else interprets it. This is the problem. That's the fucking problem. Other people have different fucking experiences than you, dumbass. Oh my god, other people exist! Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh no, we did it, guys. We found the problem. We found the core thing. We found the core. What is that in fucking joy and sadness and envy and jealousy or envy, whatever. The core. We found it. Guys, we found it. Oh. That's how it sounds to me. But that's not how it sounds to me. That's ridiculous. I don't even know what to do with that. Oh my fucking god. There's words. There's so many words. There's so many words in the world. There's just fucking... there's so many words in a dictionary, and sometimes it's not even all of them. And then there are words in other cultures, and different words for different things, and like, is a hot dog a sandwich? Like, people have different fucking perspectives. And is Thor a solipsist? Is Thor just gone full solipsism? Is that where we are? He's just a brain in a vat, and everything that's happening is just an experience that only he is having, and everything else is his projection? Is that what the fuck we're doing? Yeah, this is Thor's world, and the rest of us are just living in it. Yeah, like, what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? What do you mean? He understands fundamentally that other people exist and play video games, right? Because he has to be developing games for somebody to play. It's like Thor, Feline said, like, Thor made it so much harder for anyone to discuss anything with him. He already made it so fucking difficult, and then he turns around and says that he literally can't understand that other people have fucking interpret words he said differently than what he intends for them to interpret, or how he intends to interpret them. Or how he intends to communicate them. That's it. We did it. Let's go home, everybody. How do you unpack that? I feel like the only way to respond to that is just by directly looking at him dead in the eye and making him stop for a second. Look at me. Look at me. Other people exist. Like that. Words have meanings, and sometimes those meanings are different. And if I say the word weak, What am I talking about? You don't know unless you have context to know what I'm talking about. Huh. Huh. Hi, welcome. You came to the right place. I'm fucking gonna die, dude.
Yeah, I know it's hard. So here's the point. The words, if I were to write them...
And you're right, Feline. When you say that's ridiculous, I don't understand that. That's going to get interpreted as you are ridiculous. Fuck.
Down, and we said, hey, is this person arrogant? Maybe. It would be the answer that you get. The emotional energy that you add to that doesn't make it come across as arrogant at all. It makes it come across, for me, I get inspired by that. I believe that. That sounds believable to me. So there's some...
The perception disconnect is when I talk about a situation while removing the emotion from it, when to me that sounds like the most logical way.
You're not removing the emotion from it, you fuck nugget. You're not doing that. These aren't point form notes. Good fucking...
way to communicate. And the most objective way to communicate, which
he thinks the most logical way to communicate is to communicate in a way that he knows other people aren't understanding him, and he's gonna keep doing that anyway. How the fuck is that logical? That is the opposite of logical. That is insanity. That is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different fucking result. Oh my fucking god.
About a situation while removing the emotion from it, when to me that sounds like the most logical way to communicate. And the most objective way to communicate, which seems like it would be the best way for people to understand the scenario fully. And that's the most disconnected for other people because it makes them feel like I'm being evasive.
I think that is one step in the right direction for you. And that's because human beings are not
generous to call it a step.
Not logical communicators.
I'm well aware of that.
That is so bullshit. This is so bullshit. This is turning into bullshit. Like, what do you mean when you say logical communicators? That doesn't mean anything. You would need to, like, actually put, like, the logistics of what that would mean out. Like, what are you talking about when you say logically communicate? Because to me, if I were to just take that phrase from the context of this conversation, all that means is whatever Thor says. However he says it is the logical way to do it. But if you do it the same way he does, it's not. It is only applicable to this fucking Muppet. But if I were to try to, like, take that out and say, okay, if I were to interpret what that could mean in any kind of functional, pragmatic way that could have any kind of, like, real-world application of logical ways to communicate, I'm immediately thinking of language structure and, like, grammar and, like, knowing what an adjective is, like, things like that. And that, like, knowing that there's actually a rule for what order adjectives go inside of English. But to take it a step further and talk about, like, conversational communication, which is really what they're talking about, to make that logical, you would have to set up, like, I'm guessing one of the things would have to be being concise and efficient with your verbiage and your language, as well as being clear and having incredibly consistent language definitions. So, like, the word dog would have to, like, disappear. You can't use the word dog, because the word dog means so many dogs. You'd have to use, like, if you wanted to be extreme about it, you'd want to use to be the most logical or the most clear, you would need to use the scientific terms. But, like, even if you were to roll that back and say, anytime you were talking about dog, you need to talk about the specific breed. You'd have to specify that you were talking about a Chihuahua, or you were talking about a Dachshund, or you were talking about a Husky. So you wouldn't say the dogs at the dog park. You would say the multiple, like the list of breeds of dogs at the dog park. Like it doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. And this is completely negating inflection. Like, inflection is a thing in many languages and in some more than others. If you want to go to China or Southeast Asia and speak a language, you need to use inflection is a massive, massive part of those languages, like Korean or or Mandarin. In English, it's there. It's just, it's not as prevalent as those languages. But for example, when you're asking a question, I'm asking a question. That uptick is about you. I'm asking. We need, I think, yeah, Mandarin more so than Korean for sure. I think that fucking English needs to add clicks for fucking commas, because we don't speak verbally our commas very much or very often. We use conjoiner words like and or. You could remove some of those words if we were to put in a verbal tick for commas. And you would be able to remove some of the spaces when you're speaking. So, like, if you're reading something, there's a comma, it generally means some sort of pause or some kind of indicative break, right? So, like, but that's speaking about logical communication. Tonal language. Yeah, absolutely. So, like, what do you fucking do? Because there's even more to communication than auditory, right? There's visual parts of language as well, like I'm emotive. And what does emotive mean? It means I'm showing emotion. I'm showing on my face or with my gestures or with my body language to indicate contextually the context, to indicate what I'm trying to get across. If I'm exasperated, I might be like, oh, what? But if I just wrote, ugh, what, that doesn't necessarily come across the same way. If I just say, ugh, what, versus going, like, it's more exaggerated. Right? So like, there's... What am I doing? Why am I explaining this? Communication is about participation. The thing, if you want to talk about logical communication, the biggest thing, logical communication as if it's a thing, the biggest thing that you would need to focus on is listening. What's the main thing that Thor has done wrong this entire time? Not understanding, caring, and misrepresenting what everyone else is fucking trying to tell him. Because he's not fucking listening. If he fucking listened and actually considered what everyone else was fucking talking about, then this would not be the conversation. This wouldn't be what we were doing. The worst part about this is what he fucking does actually do is he turns around and says that he's listening when he's clearly not, and then misrepresents what you're saying. So then he's lying about everybody. Fucking unbelievable, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're basically spitting in everybody's face. You're basically saying, hey, listen, I'm listening to you, I understand, but fuck you anyway. You're just stupid, or you're just trolling, and then he starts making accusations, and that's the fucking problem. Yeah, Athens was right. I'll be back in a second. I'm gonna get more tea. I'll be back in a minute. I need more hot water. Oh my god, alright. You want me to check Man Bear Pig? Alright, I'm looking. What am I looking at? What is... What? Am I being abducted by aliens in this? What is... Huh? What? Huh? What is this? What the fuck? Hold on, I'll show you guys. Somebody posted this on... what is this? Hair? Oh, I see. Okay, this is... What the fuck is this? What? No. That's an interesting screen grab they got of me. They didn't trim it right. Yeah, hold on. Let me make this bigger. Hold on, open this in a new tab. Hold on. Open image in new tab. Yeah, let's take a look. Look! The cut is actually here. They left a bunch of black space in, or like edited it, like tried to squish me out, like make me wider. What is this? How did you fuck that up? That's funny. Is this IP infringement? And I mean, it might be for the aliens. It's AI. Like, a lot of this looks like it's AI done, so it might be. What the fuck? What? Who? What? What is this? This is what I mean by, like, I'm a fucking nobody, but, like, so many people hate me. This is a screen grab for my birthday, like, 2 years ago. Or last year. No, this wasn't posted by Wolf. I mean, Wolf commented, but this is posted by somebody else. I don't fucking know. The joke wrote itself. Yeah, fair. 2 to 3 years ago? Yeah, it's a while ago. That's fucking... Alright, anyway, back to this. Who's Tammy Sue? I don't know. They might be one of the girls that goes on to Wolf's news network thing. I don't know. You're visibly thinner than that. Yes, I am. I am visibly thinner. Look, I can show you if you want. There's 15 in that photo. Oh, fucking liar. Alright. There's some AI there, too much spectacular highlights and smoothing. Yeah, definitely. The guy commenting is known for his doing nothing but AI bullshit, but that's okay. Look, at least 10 pounds thinner than in that picture, or than like when that stream happened. Anyway, okay, let's keep going. We can talk about this on Monday. We're not talking about me.
Emotional communicators. Right? So I think the energy that you add to the equation.
Okay, there's a consistent problem that is happening throughout this entire shtick, right? And the whole thing is this idea that logic and emotion are separate things. They are not separate things. You cannot logically operate as if emotions do not exist. That is not a logical thing to do. That is, in fact, an illogical thing to do. The logical thing to do is to acknowledge and understand that emotions exist, and then practice controlling your own, or at least like managing your own emotions, and acknowledging and understanding that other humans also exist and have emotions. And so that like people like will say things in an emotion, it won't be like the most clear thing they could say. And the difference between trying to look literally at what they said versus trying to understand what they're saying, because those are legitimately just different things. How do we know this picture wasn't reality and that Chesh we see now is just an advanced AI deepfake? You don't.
Like, matters a lot. And what you're trying to remove, so, and it sort of makes sense, right? Because you have a strategy. You're like, you've got a particular strategic approach, and that's what got you to where you are. And I know you've tried a lot, but I think this fundamental thing, I don't think this has changed over the whole course of this.
No.
And I think the really hard thing,
and it still hasn't changed to this very day,
is I don't know that it needs to change, because I think part of what makes you who you are, part of what makes you valuable, part of what attracts the community, because there are a lot of people out there who think like you, who are tired of emotional communication, who have people in their lives where you're like, look, this is the reality of the situation. I cook dinner 4 nights a week. You cook dinner 1 night a week, and you order takeout the other 2 nights of the week. That is the objective scenario. This needs to change. And they're like, nah. So I think that the way you communicate is like an OA.
It's fascinating to see a doctor of psychology taking emotions and the emotional energy and value that comes to a table in relationships and being like, meh, as if it doesn't fucking matter at all. What the fuck?
Oasis in a desert for a lot of people.
God,
So
take his dick out of your mouth.
Bad. It's just like, this is like something that I think can be leveled up.
Stop enabling
part
him.
of
The biggest thing is the more that I have to deal with this just slew of shit with this, the less I've been emotional about it. Because it's...
That is no, what you're doing is disassociating. That's not the same thing, my guy. Absolutely not.
effort.
Well, so if we were to take that statement as true and we were to make a predictive model, what happened to you would be in line with this prediction. That if our hypothesis is that emotional communication is what
Is he a psychiatrist and I said psychologist? Sorry, my mistake. My bad. Those are different things.
Connects with people, especially on the internet.
Yeah.
And as you have become more burnt out, which by the way is absolutely going to happen, as your corpus callosum, you're just fried. You're just blackened at this point. You've got no emotional energy left. And the more you communicate, the angrier people will get. I really hope people leave you the fuck alone, because I think it's like enough is enough. I'm happy to say that. Like,
Why?
I don't usually...
You don't know. Why are you saying that when you don't know? Dr. K at the beginning of this already said that he's willing to put forward that the backlash that Thor has gotten and the punishment that he has received is like, some of it's gone too far, but it's reasonable and fair, and it's enough for what has happened thus far. But now that sets up this, I've talked about this in one of the other episodes when we were watching this, now he's doing it more. So that means he needs to have more punishment by the model that Dr. K put forward. So by the model that he's putting forward, enough is not enough, because Thor's still doing the behavior. If he stopped doing the behavior, then yes, people should stop. But if he keeps doing the fucking behavior, then he's gonna keep getting the same response. Good fucking Lord.
Advocate for people doing that. Maybe people think that I'm a narcissist or whatever. Like, that's fine. But I don't think this is about you. I think this is like when someone makes whatever kind of mistakes you made, and whether you were mean to people or not, whether you went to the bathroom and looked something up, or you have a butt plug that is vibrating in Morse code to give you the solution, like is connected to I really don't care. I don't know about the reality. I think it's just like, we all make mistakes. I'm not saying you did or you didn't. It's just like, come on, y'all. Right? Is this...
Come on, y'all what? We all make mistakes. If Thor objectively makes a mistake, come on, y'all what? And people say, hey, Thor's made a mistake here. Come on, y'all, what? Should we let him rob a bank? Because, you know, he makes a lot of money doing this. He makes a lot of money doing all of this dishonest shit.
Really what we're doing now? Like, is this how we're spending our days, how we're spending our time? Are you perfect? No. Are you a regular human being? Yes.
What are you saying, Doctor? What are you saying at this point? What the fuck are you even talking about? This is the most placatey fucking jerk-off session that I have ever seen. Like, there's lazy, like, fucking jerk-off sessions, and then there's, like, jerk-off sessions where the other person is invested, and this is, like, the laziest hand job ever, being like, yes, you're a person that exists, and people make mistakes, fucking limp wrist, limp dick fucking nonsense. What is the point?
So that's kind of where I am. I know it's confusing for you.
You're nowhere! You just described that you're literally nowhere and understand nothing about this situation where Thor's just allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants to anybody he wants at any time he wants, and we should all just be like, thank you, sir. May I have another? Like, what the fuck? Oh my good lord. Non-therapy therapy. Yeah, right! Right! This is fucking hell, man. It might help. No, I don't even know. Holy.
I
mean that starts to make sense. I think the thing.
Oh, really? It starts to make sense as soon as it's limp wrist jerking Thor off. That it's saying that Thor is right and Thor didn't do anything wrong. And suddenly now it makes sense, does it? Oh, I see. Oh, funny how he doesn't understand it when it's other people, but as soon as it's him and it's praising him and it's telling him he's doing the right thing, all this is gonna do is encourage him to do it more. And I think that's what we've seen. In 3 months, all this has done is escalate into big other fucking problems. Huh! How do I really feel? Maybe you need to express emotion. How can you possibly... Fuck, dude. Why did you say that to me? Listen, how could you possibly... Thor is sitting there saying he wants to be authentic, but then says he takes the emotion out of everything to be as logical as possible. How are you being authentic if you remove all your emotions from the thing you're trying to say? That's the opposite of authentic. Yeah. I found my glasses, by the way. I can see now. Oh my fucking god, dude. What is this? Oh. You should smile more.
What bothers me is if someone were to go to me, right, and talk in the way that I'm talking in that objective fashion, I go, oh, cool, here's all the information. I'm going to compile it with other information and then come up with my own way of how I feel about this.
Wait. So you can be presented with somebody's thing and then come up with your own thing, but you can't understand that other people do the same thing? Because you just said, oh, see, that's not what he just said, that's not what I heard. Oh, that's ridiculous. How... Other people exist, my guy. I can't believe we have literally broken this down to people exist, and there's probably more than one of them if you want to function successfully in society. That might not be true. We never go full solipsism, but if we were, hypothetically, say that, listen, I can't prove you're not a brain in a vat and I'm not a figment of your imagination, but if you want to function successfully in your simulation, you have to behave as if there are other minds and other people interacting, then who fucking cares? Huh. Yeah, the problem isn't that Thor can't be authentic. It's that when he does, it's apparent his authentic self is, well, kind of a terrible person. That is kind of the conclusion we're coming to, right?
And what I'm seeing more and more now, especially on the internet, right, is loud, bombastic, emotional response is what everyone wants for stuff. But we've never had it that way. I've never interacted that way. I've been not that way this entire time. And now for me,
just because you speak in a lower toned, regulated tone doesn't mean you're not emotional. And that's not the fucking problem. You're saying this, you're basically just telling everyone that their emotions are wrong and they're wrong to express them. That's the fucking God. This is the worst.
Suddenly that's a problem. Suddenly that's a bad guy thing, which is like, that's really fucking weird for me, man. Like, that's not what I expected. That's not the response that I expect. It doesn't really make a huge amount of logical or emotional sense to me. So I'm just like, okay, so...
Thor, do you get mad when people lie to you? If you spend money on something and invest in something and that thing is a lie, do you get mad about that? Would that make you angry? Would that when you try to confront that thing, if your girlfriend cheated on you, would you get angry? Would you be upset? Would you get frustrated? If when you confronted that girlfriend about them cheating on you, and they said that never happened, and they gave you a whole gaslighty story that was full of contradictions and lies, and there was video of her cheating, by the way. It was live streamed, in fact. So and she said, no, it's not actually me. I didn't really do that. It was actually all everyone else's fault. And it's actually, in fact, your fault. Like, why are you even so upset about this? Do you think that would be frustrating? And the only way you had to communicate with her was for her to be able to talk to you, but you had to type? You think that would add a level of frustration? Maybe. A little bit.
You don't think I'm doing this thing. Here's more information. That's not enough. Here's more information. That's not enough. Here's more information. Then eventually it's like...
Then your whole argument about putting out the entire context initially is bullshit. Because now you're saying, oh, I'll give you some information. Oh, you don't believe me? Here's more information. That doesn't change.
Fuck you, I don't care.
Yeah,
so there's no other solution at that point.
There's two things. Like, I had one kind of emotional response, which is like, you're like, that makes sense to me. The really interesting thing is your response of that makes sense to me. I'm not saying don't read too much into it. I was just laughing because what I sent you in that moment was not logical. What I sent you in that moment was emotional. Yes. Right?
I have the capacity to understand emotions.
Yeah. But it's interesting because there's...
Do you have the capacity? I don't think you have the capacity. We literally had to break this down to other people exist. Other people existing, like, not being able to acknowledge that other people exist is kind of a big fucking problem. I am going to point out real quick that Pipmonk is in the ICU. So if people are interested in helping out with a GoFundMe for that, he's in Mississippi. I'm going to go ahead and link that in the chat so people can go over there and help out if they're interested or can do that. We'll cover it a little bit more on another day when I have time to actually look through it and maybe be a little bit more clear. But hey, he's 10% of the way there, so good shit. If you're interested. Give him a hand. I will pin the message. All right, let's keep going.
So many times where I've tried to send you logical signals and then there's a disconnect. Yeah. But you can easily argue that it's apples and oranges. The second thing that I want to say, and I know you have emotional capacity, like I get that. You love your ferrets. They show up there. So the other thing that I think is interesting to note is that I think that you are on the receiving end of, not just you, but basically this happens. So there's a group of parasocial nomad haters on the internet. That's what I call them.
Yeah. Huh? Chat hoppers is what they're generally called on Twitch.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that. But like, so what I
jump from one community to another when there's like a big drama.
Exactly. So these are the people that follow the drama. So whoever, and then the problem is if you've created a community that values a certain kind of communication, and the chat hoppers show up, everything that you've built will get dominated or swept away.
That's what.
No. No. What? You have complete control over your chat. We know this because he banned people for saying the word mana in his gaming streams. He absolutely fucking not. It takes more effort and work to manage and do community management, but that's a literal job that people do. That it's not impossible, and it will not get swept away. Maybe for a stream or two, but if you know what you're doing and you know how to handle it, it's not going to destroy your community. It's only going to destroy your community if you don't handle it well.
Why we ban it all. Yep.
Okay.
Knowing that full well. And there's a couple of ways to handle that, right? That I feel is when someone comes in and they just make like the copy paste hate statement, it's very clear that they don't care. We ban them. And then they put an unban request, and sometimes they'll be like, hey, I didn't realize it was that big of a deal. And then they come back in and they're like, hey, I like watching the stream, or they tell the mods to kill themselves, right? And like, obviously, if they're going to tell the mods to kill themselves, they just stay banned. And that happens all the time. But if they're like, hey, you know, I didn't realize this mattered so much, sometimes they end up joining the community. And it's fine. It's just that first interaction, we don't want that like a million times in the chat. Like, that shit sucks. And it's not 50.
I mean, yeah, that's fine, and it can suck, but, your community, you and your community need not take it so seriously that you have to fucking make a big deal about it every single time it comes up. In fact, making it a big deal every time it comes up ends up fucking doing that thing, the Barbara Streisand thing, where now people are doing it to make you keep talking about it over and over and over again. And people want you to keep talking about it over and over and over again because you keep eating your feet. Stop eating your feet. It'll help, probably.
50, but the mods do get a lot of hate, man. Like a massive amount. It sucks for them.
Yeah. Why are they getting that? The reason they're getting hate is because of you. You're responsible for that. My mods don't get fucking hate. Why don't my mods get hate? Because I'm the one who fucking directs them. Because I'm the one who takes the flack for the shit that they do. And sometimes the shit that they say. Why do I take that flack? Because it's my responsibility. I'm the one, it's my channel. I don't want to be here anymore. There's still an hour left.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
How many times are we going to go around this same fucking circle?
It's hard to deal with. It's something that basically every streamer deals with, where the moment that you're at the top of LSF, you get like this influx of audience, which also I don't think that's like LSF's fault. That's just the...
I think it's the nature of like a gathering of people that are either rooting for the downfall or rooting for an emotional big moment or like want to be, you know, part of that. But I do...
You mean it's exciting and dramatic? Yeah.
Still think that there's a large amount of people that are engaging in that because it's like their reality show. It's like their TMZ. It's like they...
Yes! If you're on stream for more than 8 hours a day, nearly every day, you are ostensibly streaming a reality. It's your life. It's your whole life, dude. Ugh.
They're like, oh man, I'm part of that moment. Remember that moment when that thing happened? That was so funny. And like, I feel like there's probably even some of those people that will meet someone like at an event where they engaged in one of those things and they won't think it's real. They think it's just...
Feline said that I don't direct my mods. That we are our own agents. And that wasn't, and I didn't word it properly. All right. I give you a directive. And like, there's a directive that the mods have. And I trust them to use their best judgment and act as individual agents within that capacity. If I needed to be more clear about it. There's a reason that there are press secretaries and spokesmen and communications officers. Yeah, a PR management firm, like whole firms worth billions of dollars that do this. Community management, absolutely a fucking thing. Good fucking lord. I could fix Thor's public image in 3 months. 3 months. I could fix it. Easily. Easily within 3 months. But he would have to fucking do as I say.
It's like a cartoon character, you know?
Yeah, I've seen that a lot too, unfortunately. But anyway, we've been at it for like almost 3 hours, bro. How you feeling?
Yeah. Fine. Like, to be honest with you, I think so far this has been really productive. Because to me, like, dude.
Oh, yes, please tell me how productive this has been. Please tell me how much you've learned.
I don't know. Like, that seems wild to me that people just want it. Like, I don't know. It seems wild to me that people just want an emotional response for that. When in reality, I find that, like I explained earlier, I find that to be a disingenuous thing. I don't want to be that guy that goes and makes a fucking apology video.
He learned nothing. He learned fucking nothing. Congratulations. Yay. But Rakita said that Vic never needed a PR person. I would suspect that Vic Mignogna still needs a PR person. Actually, I haven't looked at anything related to Vic Mignogna in a while. I should see what he's up to.
Yeah, so I think that there are a lot of people who would be satisfied by that, but please don't take away. I think, like, I mean, you convinced me, right? And I've not done that when people get upset with me.
You've convinced me about this thing I know nothing about.
So I won't just say, yeah, my bad, unless I really believe that. So that there have been times where I've made mistakes where I will say, like, I still remember, I'm happy to say it again. There was one time early on in the days of streaming that I made fun of people with micropenises. And that is like one of the things that I regret the most. Because it's like easy to do that.
That's an easy fruit, yeah.
It's easy, but it's like out of all of the people, like in terms of like punching down and stuff, like out of all the people who have it so hard for, you know, just us to pile on and like, ha ha ha, you have a small dick. Like that's not something that's in their control. And
maybe I'm interpreting this incorrect. Is he saying he was literally going around and finding people who have micro penises and making fun of them? Or is he saying that, which is what I suspect he's actually trying to say, is that he used to like use, oh, you have a small dick and a micro penis as a joke for anybody? Is that what he's saying? I don't know the history of this. What?
By the way, you can have a fulfilling sexual life with a micropenis. I thought about, I just became a degenerate gamer for a moment and stopped thinking about people in my office who struggle with those kinds of problems.
Yeah. I think that's actually really interesting because that's like the internet, man. Is like, I don't even know. Like, I feel like if somebody's going to call you that, like on the internet, if somebody's like in a lobby and they're like, you have a micro penis, they don't actually mean that. They just want to say some shit. That's like some kid on Xbox saying he fucked your mom.
Yeah, right. Like, so like deep within me is 4chan, like much like ChatGPT.
Yeah. What? Okay, all right. This is going high on my list of things you don't want to hear your psychologist or psychiatrist or psychologist say. Deep inside me is 4chan. Good fucking lord. Oh no. Why would you say that? What? Oh no. I can get away with saying shit like that. I'm a goblin. I'm just some fucking shitter. You can't do that. You're telling everybody you're a professional. What do you mean? How's everybody doing? Send help. Need to breathe. What? Why? Why would you would you say that? Yeah, and I'm stuck, guys. I need the loading fucking dial-up sound. What? Is this more wild than the Coney 2012 remark? Oh, I don't even know which one is worse. I don't even know. This is... What the fuck? I'm torn between, like, I get wanting to be authentic, but also, like, if you... Why? 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 Why is 4chan deep inside of you as, like... You want to know why? I think I figured something out. Do you want to know why Dr. K has such a negative view of the internet and people on the internet just being trolls and just being, like, looking to fight and looking to, like, bully people and harass people and get an emotional rise? That's why. 'Cause he's a 4chaner. And probably a long-term one. He's projecting. He's saying that people on the internet are like that because that's what he's like on the internet. You're welcome. Welcome to my armchair psychology. Huh? Fuck, dude. What a fucking... Why would you... Why? You're doing psychology right now. Why is 4chan your fucking core thing that you're drawing from? Oh... Donald Trump is currently on top of the White House taking questions. Tell him to do a flip. All right.
I feel like if somebody's going to call you that, like on the internet, if somebody's like in a lobby and they're like, "You have a micro penis," they don't actually mean that. They just want to say some shit. That's like some kid on Xbox saying he fucked your mom.
Yeah, right. Like, so like deep within me is 4chan. Like much like ChatGPT. Yeah. Deep within my bones is 4chan. And so anyway, I was just saying, like,
ChatGPT and 4chan. What a winning fucking combination. Huh?
So sometimes I've made mistakes and, you know, I'll own up to those, but I don't think don't compromise that. But I think that
making the core of who you are as a person, ChatGPT and 4chan, is one of those mistakes. Stop. Cease. Desist. Please. Don't do this. No, please. Good God. No, please.
There's like something in the middle of letting more of your authentic emotion out and also be super careful about the way that you, even in your own head, sterilize your interactions. And sterilize your contributions, which I think you do.
If my therapist said this to me, I would fucking demand my money back and leave.
It's comfortable.
Yeah, it's comfortable, but I think you do that.
In the scenario.
All right. Now that we have this context about Dr. K, chat here right now, and if you're watching this in the future and look at the comment section, leave a comment. Do you think Dr. K is concerned trolling Thor? Do you think that's what's happening? Because, like, if he's like a 4chaner at heart and he sees Thor getting into this, like, negligible trouble comparatively to now, like, this was like an issue for him, but now it's escalated into a bigger issue. And this is definitely a catalyst. This is encouraging Thor to keep doing what the fuck he's doing. Do you guys think that Dr. K isn't actually helping Thor at all and is actually just fucking concern trolling him and helping Thor dig himself a bigger hole? Because that's what trolling is. Successful fucking concern trolling. Like, incredible. Like, I mean, to be fair, that's impressive. That is impressive fucking concern trolling, I'm not gonna lie. Changing my name to Dr. Red and have a new career path. Oh, boy. Seems like a grift. What motives would Dr. K have to concern troll? Views? And for funsies? Like the reason people troll other people is just to, like, get that rise out of them and feel in control and do those types of things. Like, there's not really, like... There's probably some kind of, like, monetary bonus to it, but it's mostly, like, a superiority thing that usually happens. Or they're just, you know, fucking around, which is another thing. But, like... Whew. If it's the same thing, but it feels like let's put a quarter in the machine and sit back and watch it play, yeah, that's a little bit of concern. Concern trolling is like that as well. I mean, a lot of trolling is like that. It has that vibe. So you guys think so? Well, yeah, successful concern trolling, you have to seem authentic initially. If you don't seem authentic initially, you have to convince them that you're there to help. So once you've convinced them that you're there to help, you then encourage them to do all of the wrong things. And I'm not gonna lie, throughout this, it seems to me that Dr. K has not encouraged Thor in any positive way. He's continued to just, like, feed him platitudes and encourage him to make bad decisions. There's 4chan in my bones. Like, I think he said the quiet part out loud. I think that's I'm actually now think that was a dog whistle.
When the scenario is, like, super vitriolic, it's comfortable to sterilize that. It's comfortable to have, like, more of a logical conversation about it because it's easier to process.
Yep.
It is less easy to... Like, if I'm going to have a big emotional response, I feel like I'm being manipulative to another person. Because I could do that. I could just sit down and be like, I'm going to have a big emotional response now. But that's not that's not how I am. That's not the person I am.
So I think it's an issue of... So you mentioned that
if that's not the person if you don't have that, like, big emotional response, then that's not the person you are at all. And it would be inauthentic to pretend you have an emotion you don't have. And that would be manipulative because you're misleading people. But... that doesn't mean you don't have any emotions, and that doesn't mean you can't communicate in an earnest way. I don't have a, like, very large emotional range. But that doesn't mean I don't get exasperated and I don't express that I'm being exasperated. Do I sometimes, like, over-exaggerate whatever emotion that I am or am not feeling? Not usually on stream, but in my real life sometimes, because if I'm angry and I don't behave in a way that communicates that I'm angry, people won't know that I'm angry. So I have to kind of put in a little bit of extra effort to demonstrate and explain that I'm frustrated and angry, so that way the other people understand. And not because I'm trying to mislead them or that I'm lying, but they don't get it otherwise.
Some point that this has been a challenge that you've had before. I don't even remember what we were talking about. So I think it's really about, and this is for anyone else too, like, you know, we all just have to decide. When you say, this is the person that I am, we all just have to decide whether we want to continue. Like, am I just saying, hey, this is who I am and I don't want to change this? And then...
No, I don't think that's the case.
Well, I'm giving options. So I'm sort of speaking rhetorically. Right. So we all have to make decisions for ourselves about, if this is the way that I am, do I want to continue to be this way? Do I not want to continue to be this way? And then there's going to be a line in the sand of, like, what a level of compromise feels authentic and okay, and what doesn't. What feels like growth? What feels like giving a piece of yourself away?
Yeah, because like for me, I feel pretty happy with the way that I communicate generally. I don't generally have a problem with that. And I like being able to communicate objectively, either with, in my relationship.
What does communicate objectively mean? That's not a thing.
Friends, people in the community, that feels fine to me. And I think there's a lot of people that actually like that about the way that I communicate. It's like, hey, Thor's talking about all the things of all the, because we'll get a whole bunch of stories in that come in from the damn internet that are like, the fucking sky's on fire. And then you look at it and you're like, the sky's not on fire. This outhouse over here was on fire. It's not that big a deal. Right. And I find that there's very few islands of that shit online, man. Like there's very few islands of people who'd be like, wait a minute.
Have we not already established that fucking Thor doesn't communicate what he intends to communicate to people very well? Didn't we already get to that? Didn't we already agree about this? So what the fuck? We're going around again.
Let's look into that before we start freaking out. Would it be easier for me to just like dive into the emotion first? Yeah. Would it be honest? No. Would it be quick views? 100%.
You're always diving into the emotion first. That's how emotions work. You have to logically think and process things, and that includes the emotions. So you're already doing that first. What you're communicating is you're trying to falsely remove emotions from your response in totality.
Yeah.
None of that shit makes sense to me.
I'm with
and
you,
like
man.
that's why I've always communicated that way. And it's not even a thing of like I'm not willing to change. I'd be lying.
Hmm?
Like I'd just be straight up lying about all of these scenarios.
What do you mean? Mm-hmm.
As if that was the case. If it wasn't like here's all the things as I see it, here's all the facts as I felt them, right? As the things that I went through, I'd be a piece of shit. I'd be just like
But you were doing that because you're picking and choosing which things you viewed as important to the context. You're already doing that thing.
grifter on the internet that's just trying to garner as many views as possible.
Yeah, you think? You think that's maybe what you are? Did you say the quiet part? Did you figure it out? Was that a glimmer of fucking self-recognition of like, wow, if I did this thing that I'm doing, I'd be a grifter on the internet just looking for views and money? Really? Would you now? Correct. We agree.
It's fucking atrocious. Like, I hate that. I really hate that.
What are you hearing?
Burn it to the ground.
I think I went on a rant there.
Okay.
It's not even really about like what you said. It's more like that kind of just like it triggered an internal monologue, and I was like,
"Oh, you mean you weren't listening and you just went on and said whatever you thought sounded good at the time? Oh wow, tell me something I don't know."
I just went on to a rant with it. Yeah,
and I'm with you there. I mean, I think that there are plenty of emotionally manipulative grifters on the internet, and
oh yeah. Are there, Mr. 4chan ChatGPT boy?
I'm not even saying that like that's. I'm not even like calling people out and saying like, the side is an emotional grifter. It's more like, dude, like I can see how easy it is to manipulate people emotionally to gain money on the internet.
Yeah,
I don't ever even want to get near that.
So I'm gonna.
You literally started this interview conversation about your fucking WoW conflict with a story about your dead fucking ferret. You fucking liar. Need I remind you? If I click this back to the beginning, the thing he started was talking about his fucking ferret. Unbelievable. You know what? No. I'm gonna, no.
This guy is unfucking believable.
Like, what do you mean?
So I have those kinds of thoughts, and I'm pretty sure that they're pretty narcissistic in my head. So when I have a thought like that, I'll just like leave this for y'all. I'm not accusing anyone, or certainly not you, but this is just what I've noticed is that sometimes when I'm like jealous of people, this may be just me, who are taking the easy path on the internet, it's really easy to get self-righteous.
I don't think it's easy. No, I mean,
for me,
not like that. I think it comes with other negatives, right? Like, I'll give you an example, right? You've got somebody like Keemstar. Keemstar makes a bunch of content that's based on like calling out scenarios, making a lot of drama, runs Drama Alert, right? I don't envy that. That's got to be a tough as fuck job. That dude probably absorbs more hate than most people on the internet just by the nature of the content that he provides to the internet, which is bombastic, which is divisive, which is emotional. I don't want to get near that because that sounds fucking awful to me and everyone that was engaging in my content.
I see what you
Because you don't know how to navigate emotional scenarios or scenarios where people are emotionally charged because you don't care about anybody else's emotions but your own. You've made that incredibly fucking clear. Because you're emotionally immature. Am I really coming to the conclusion that Keemstar is more emotionally mature than Thor is? Is that where we're at? Is that where we've landed now? What the fuck are we talking about?
you mean.
So if I went down that route, I don't think it's easy. I think it would be easier to get a reaction, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
But the reaction is not one you want.
so then I think that's more
Not
from
long-term.
me. Like I think that's narcissistic. So I think the thought process I have in my head is different from what you're describing.
Okay.
Usually I'll walk myself there, but I have that kind of thought. But anyway, yeah. Any last thoughts or questions before we wrap up for the day?
I'm interested in what your thought was now.
What do you mean?
When you said you had a different thought from like the different pathway for that, like what did you mean?
A different pathway for
For thinking about that scenario of like
the
when I say it's
narcissistic
easy.
scenario?
Yeah.
So I think it's similar to what you do, but I think what I usually do is I notice that I'll see that there are creators that are doing things that I think... So there's one creator in particular that I used to like their content, and I noticed that they basically made a piece of content where there's a subreddit that I frequent, and they basically, what they did is they looked at the most upvoted content on that subreddit, made a video where they're literally reading out the top voted content things there.
I see that a lot.
And so I was, and their video did incredibly well.
Yep.
And so what I realized is like, oh, there's this niche subreddit. They're taking the best of this niche subreddit and basically distributing it on another platform. And so,
What do you guys think? Is that a problem? Should people not do that? I feel like as long as you're providing something, that I don't think that's really an issue. If you're providing video, or you're providing audio, or you're doing something that provides that an audience wouldn't otherwise get access to it, I don't really see the problem. So I don't think... You think we need to look at Dr. K more? Maybe.
it really like, it's never fun to see. So I was disappointed for two reasons. One is that like, I respected this person's content. Like when they sit down and they actually open their mouth, when they offer like commentary, which I assume is, maybe it's not, maybe they're just repurposing it from elsewhere, but I really got the sense that this person had done a lot of like thinking about, and their commentary was what I really valued. And then I also, so when I saw this piece do well, there were two things that happened. One was that I felt like disappointed in the person. I was like, this is trash content. It's just like repurposed React kind of content. It was, I guess, React content, but it wasn't like, I started to realize why people don't like React content in that moment.
It's the description that people give of slop.
Yeah. So, and then the second thing that I realized is like,
but you're saying that you then basically had to rethink your entire view of the person because you don't even know if their commentary was legitimately theirs anymore. What the fuck is happening?
It's always sad to see how well slop performs.
It does amazing. It's the same thing that we're seeing with like AI generated art, man. It's the same.
Yeah, so
I see it.
I am not going down AI gen stuff right now. We're not doing it. You can't bait me into this.
Now, I think the scariest thing that I see, like in the gaming space, AI generated ads for games. And like you get into the game and it's like a phone game and everything is AI generated. The art is like just trash and they do amazing. Like,
yeah,
hundreds of thousands of downloads, and you're like,
so there are people, and it's interesting, right? Because like game recognizes game, and one of the interesting things about being someone who is arguably knowledgeable.
Game recognizes game. Are you real? Every section of this that I've watched, there's been at least one time where my brain just goes, and we're covering so much today that my brain is like, game recognizes game. Ugh.
downloads, and you're like,
So there are people, and it's interesting, right? Because like game recognizes game, and one of the interesting things about being someone who is arguably knowledgeable in a couple of fields is I see how easy it is to be successful when you actually don't know what you're talking about. So
So you're arguably knowledgeable in some things, but you're successful by not knowing what you're talking about? Is that because you're the game that recognizes the game? Is that... I knew there was something wrong when I was able to not only keep up with this guy, but seem to know the field of psychology better. Which I don't. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I dropped out of school. I'm a statistic. I don't think he knows what he just said. This dude's a troll. This dude he's gotta be a fucking troll, man. It's 4chan. I kind of want to leave a comment that just says fucking 4chan question mark question mark question mark.
in like the wellness, medicine, self-help space, there are a lot of people who will talk about science, but there's a big difference between a scientific paper and the implementation of like a clinical intervention.
I'm putting the fire back on, guys. Guys, we moved into pseudoscience isn't really pseudoscience. I guess. All the pseudoscience is actually doing science, but they're not doing clinical papers. Fucking what? Fucking what? Is that what hold on, I gotta put that back. Wait, hold on. What?
Arguably knowledgeable in a couple of fields. So there are people, and it's interesting, right? Because like game recognizes game, and one of the interesting things about being someone who is arguably knowledgeable in a couple of fields is I see how easy it is to be successful when you actually don't know what you're talking about. So in like the wellness, medicine, self-help space, there are a lot of people who will talk about science, But there's a big difference between a scientific paper and the implementation of like a clinical intervention. And so a big thing that I see a lot, especially in the wellness space, is people will talk about things like dopamine detoxes and stuff like that. There's actually no data behind any of that stuff. They're like, I did a dopamine.
Then they're not talking about science. They're talking about pseudoscience. They're taking scientific terms and purposefully manipulating and misrepresenting those terms. That's not fucking science. I'm getting trolled now. Oh, now he's trolling me. What? There's a difference between a scientific paper and a clinical exercise or a clinical implementation. Yeah! What? I don't think he knows what he's talking about anymore. He's just saying shit. The study and the paper and the clinical application are all just steps, and they're intertwined. You write a paper, you publish the paper, you do science, and you do clinical trials, and then you implement it, and then you write more papers. It's a wheel that travels and goes, and you go places and learn things. It's easy to be successful without being knowledgeable. Case in point, everything I've said in this stream. Right? 4chan in his bones. He's doing nothing but encouraging Thor to make bad fucking decisions and enabling his bullshit behavior. And he turns around and says game recognizes game, and pseudoscience is actually science, but not the same as an actual clinical paper, as if anything he said made any fucking sense and any of those words actually meant anything. We're getting also actually by Jack in the chat that says actually there is science on dopamine detox, however it's been overly simplified. Yeah, that tends to be what grifting self-help shit does. It takes a concept that has some implementation and some science behind it somewhere and repackages it and sells it as if it's something that it isn't. You're convinced that he's fucking trolling, concern trolling? This is trolling. He's fucking grifting. He's absolutely fucking grifting. He's basically doing what the wellness pundits are doing. Yeah. Yeah, he is. He's 100% doing that. And I can't imagine why. It's only like his channel has 2.98 million subscribers, and this video only has 1 million views. Like, gee, I don't know, man. Who could say? Who could fucking say, dude? Members only, members only, members only. Spiritual journeys. Can gooning be healthy? 1.24k views. Oh no. The Pirate Software one has 1 million views. Yeah. Yeah. Fucking sort by popular, sure. Oh, he's already been on with Pirate from a year ago, too. Also, his second highest fucking viewed. Interesting. Who could have seen that coming? Addressing all 25-year-old thinkers? Oh boy. He doesn't stream a whole ton. Talking with Aiden Ross? There was another one from a year ago with Pirate Software and Destiny. Oh no. Oh no. Why being just friends doesn't work. Oh no. Nihilism is just copium. This guy's a grifter. This guy's there's no way. There's no way he's not a grifter. Absolutely a fucking grifter. There's no fucking way. There's no way. There's no fucking way he's not. This is such a fucking it's the thing he's describing. It's the oh no. Oh yeah, I think we're done. I think we're done here. I think we're done. I don't think we need to watch the last 40 minutes of this. I think we're done. Huh. Holy shit. Guys. Are we gonna... Oh, no. Guys. Unreal. Holy shit. Spiritual journeys are just him flying on Spirit Airlines. Serious question, I assume you didn't see those other videos before the series. No, this is the only video of his that I had watched, and I didn't really look around. I clicked on his channel to look at something early on, but I didn't notice the other video from before. This is my first interaction with Dr. K. So, yeah, I wasn't familiar with his content. Feline actually recommended or suggested this video in the Discord, so it's one of the reasons why we looked at it. Holy fuck balls. We're done. We're done here. I'm going home. I'm out. I don't even want to know what else gets said in this video. It's gonna be gross and stupid, and I'm gonna hate it. I'm leaving. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow. What are we going to talk about tomorrow? I don't know. I got some stuff lined up. I don't know what stuff, but stuff. I'll find out. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow. I'll put this in a playlist. You can watch me fall into madness and watch me come to my conclusions as I realize what the fuck is going on. Huh. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow. And I'll see you next time. Same bad time. Same bad place. Bye-bye.
Fuck that guy and his fucking YouTube videos. Stop listening to a man who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, you idiots!